This is what you've been waiting for. This is all the training, all the running, eating healthy, sleeping in the hyperbaric chamber, getting stretched, everything. This is why. Week 1 preview, the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the San Francisco 49ers, two outstanding organizations with heavy tradition and prestige. Kicks off in Pittsburgh, 1 p.m. I'm fired up. Pat P fired up.
Yes, sir.
Both teams have heavy expectations. The 49ers feel like they should have went to the championship a year ago. Had quarterback injuries. Of course, we know how that played out. Pittsburgh is trying to get right back into that conversation. Most importantly, get into the tournament, as Mike T likes to say. Pat P, first, this can be the first like legit game. It's different than preseason. As you saw the preseason atmosphere, man, what do you expect from Steeler Nation, man, week 1 in this home opener?
Man, you know what I just found out, Mac, that this is the first home opener in about 8+ years. I can't remember the exact number, but it's been a while since it's been a home opener here. So the city's buzzing. There's no hotel rooms available. Everybody's super excited about the squad. You know, obviously I'm super excited about the squad, but I'm expecting everybody to show up and show out. I can't wait to see the fourth quarter Renegade in live action.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, but man, I fired up, boy.
So I'm excited, man.
Ooh, and I know you already have, started your prep, your film study, man. What makes Brock Purdy not just a feel-good story as Mr. Irrelevant because he was the last pick in the draft 2 years ago, but a legitimate NFL starting quarterback? What have you seen from his game?
Man, he's able to put the ball the football where it needs to go. You know, he's a guy that's not going to make many mistakes. He's a guy that's going to take what the defense gives him and allow his defense to put him in a better position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at film and you look at him play and how Coach Shanahan calls the game, that's their formula. They're going to run the football, a ton of mixed direction plays to get that defensive player's eyes all over the place, and let their guys make hay after they catch the ball. You got to think about this as well, Matt. They have the number 1 running back, number 1 tight end, number 1 receiver with yards after the catch. That's very dynamic. So when you think about it, the plays that he's doing to Christian McCaffrey, he ain't out there running no post. He ain't out there running no dig. He's swinging out the backfield.
Yeah.
You got Deebo Samuels. He ain't running no deep ball. He's running drag routes, taking 4-yard routes. Hey, you got George Kittle doing the same thing, running these bang gates. That's 12-yard routes and turning it into a 30-yard game. So he's just putting the ball schematically where it's supposed to go. So as a defense, on the defensive side of the ball, we're gonna have to do a great job of making sure that we communicate because they do a great job of shifting in motion. It's the number 1 team in the NFL when it comes to shifting and motioning post snap. So communication is going to be at an all-time premium.
And you remember we had the legendary Dick LeBeau on
a
few episodes ago. If you missed that, it's in our feed. One thing he talked about in regards to great defensive play, the first telling sign of a real great defensive unit is the way they tackle. When you don't miss tackle and you communicate, like you talked about what they do in San Francisco, he just get the football into his playmaker hands and they make plays, make guys miss, turn a 10-yard gain into a 20 or 30-yard gain. That's how you get chunk plays and that's how you get opportunities to get into the red area to score. But when you take that out of the equation and you tackling the catch and rally to the ball, they got to do it the long way.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
So if we do a good job of tackling the guys at the point of attack, we're going to be in a good position to be able to, sustain those guys from making big plays. Because if you go back and watch the Philadelphia Eagles game, obviously I know Brock Purdy wasn't in the game. They went through a bunch of quarterbacks in that game. But those guys was hugging up on those checkdowns. Because when you give, a dynamic, running back 3-4 yards of space, he's going to make one guy miss. There ain't no question about it. So if we do a good job of hugging up on those outlets, that those guys that's just hanging out on the sideline, those late leak out guys, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. But he just do a great job of putting the ball where it needs to go and not making many mistakes. So we're going to have to force him to be a professional quarterback.
Yeah. Now I'll say this too as well. Why I'm so hyped about the Steelers in this position against the San Francisco 49ers week 1 is because Brock Purdy's going to get pressured. That heat is going to come. Hey. You don't necessarily got to bring it with extra hats. Y'all got some grown men. Like, y'all got some grown men that can win their one-on-one matchups. You know what I mean? You got depth. You know, you got the first duo, you're going to have Highsmith and Watt. The second duo, you can bring in Marcus and Herbig. So it's going to be a rotation, and that's going to help everyone else in the defense out when you put pressure on the quarterback. But one of their main, and for me, I look at their offense, you know, when you talk about having, you know, a legit offense, someone has to be, you know, the starter for them, the transmission in a car. You don't have a transmission in your car, you ain't going nowhere. For them, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's the transmission for their car. What's the focus like slowing someone down like CMC? Because he's not just a prolific runner, but out of the backfield and route combinations, he does damage as well. So what are you guys trying to emphasize the week of leading up to Sunday and trying to slow Christian McCaffrey down?
Man, obviously we understand what these guys, what their identity is. We know these guys like to run stretch. We know these guys like to run perimeter tosses. You know, they want to get the ball on the edge of the defense and let their shifty guys pick where they want to go. And they got one of the best in the business in Christian McCaffrey of picking the best lane to go to make big plays. You know, so for us, obviously, we're going to have to make sure that everybody tackles well. Everybody, all 11 hats, got to come prepared to tackle. You know, because this guy is very shifty. He can make, the jump cut ability. His vision that he has on the field is gonna be very prominent. Very prominent that everybody has all hands on deck when it comes to tackling, and obviously that's not even debatable when it comes to Pittsburgh defense. You know, so that's not even the question. So if we're able to, everybody, all 11 hats, you know, swarm him when he does run the ball, and make sure that we have a good a good feel on where he is when it is in the game, because Brock Purdy looks for him very often when those passes lane get a little cloudy, he's looking for 23. So we got to make sure that we're hugged up on our coverage and make sure that we have sound communication at all times, because there is some tell signs out there that tells us what plays we're going to get when those guys in certain situations. You know.
So wait a minute. So you got a little insight on, just from your film study, telling signs on when they're going to do certain things already?
Come on, Mac. You
got your cheat code ready?
Come on, Mac. You watched film before.
I'm not going to ask you to tell me what have you picked out of, because we don't know who's watching or who's listening. So we're going to let that be.
Before, man. Yeah. When I get my pick Sunday, we'll talk about it.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. When you get your pick Sunday, number one, you got to get, because, you know, the guys didn't really celebrate like how y'all celebrated in Minnesota.
It's up.
You already got something planned.
It's up.
That's what I like to hear. Hey, real quick, you guys made an addition, Desmond King, right?
Yeah,
another savvy vet, big time player, man. Do you think he will be involved in the game plan this Sunday, knowing that he just, you know, joined the team a little of a week ago, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see how it all unfolds throughout this week. Preparation. Obviously, we got to make sure that he understands the scheme, understand how we run things here in Pittsburgh, PA, as Mike T like to say. But he's a savvy vet. You know, he's been in the game a long time. He's been around a bunch of different schemes. So I'm quite sure it won't be very hard for him to understand our scheme, because our scheme is not very hard. We just line up and play football. and we want to punch you in the mouth, point blank. Period. You know, so
I like the move though. I think Omar has really been in his bag, bro. Shouts out to Omar, boy.
I like the move as well because I did feel like we needed just another veteran presence at the cornerback position because we was a little a little young on the guys that's backing up me and Levi.
Yeah. I like what Omar has done, man, the entire offseason, man, because he got the guys in the building. Now it's time to go ahead and put it on film, man. What version? Yep, what you got?
That's it. It's time to operate now.
No question. Talking about preseason leading up to the start of the regular season, Kenny Pickett was phenomenal. You know what I mean? So what do you expect to see for number 8 in the entire offense?
He needs to be phenomenal again. ain't no ifs and buts about it, Matt.
Yeah, I agree.
Be phenomenal again. And what we saw in the preseason is what I've seen since spring. OTA.
You've been talking about it.
Yeah,
you've been talking about it.
Mini camp and training camp, preseason. I've seen it since April.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect to see nothing less.
Yeah, you've been talking about it. I'm excited as well, man. I think he's ready to turn the corner and probably a little sooner than what people expected. But that's the maturity that he has. Played a lot of college football, which helps, I think.
Yes.
With what we're seeing now, the experience is there, and he's highly confident, and he has a bunch of guys around him that can do their job and do it at a high level, which helps. So every week for our new listeners and our viewers, when we preview the next opponent for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I will give a prediction. I give a prediction. And I'm usually pretty good with my predictions. I'm not saying I hit the exact number, but I get pretty close.
Last year, you was dang near. Yeah, I give you like about a 77%.
That's a great percentage. That's a great percentage. Yes. And so, Pat P, this has nothing to do with you, so you can close your ears. But for our viewers that are gamblers that oftentimes bet on ball games, and for our listeners, Pittsburgh, they're getting 2.5 points. 2.5 points. So with me and my studying and just talking gambling and participating in gambling, anytime I see an underdog getting 2.5, I always take the underdog. I take the underdog. And the reason why I take the underdog is because the public usually side with the dog, knowing they're only giving 2.5. Because if they're giving 2.5, you believe that dog is good enough to at least win by 3 points. That's how the public think. They see 2.5. Well, that's a team that I think is better than the underdog. And all they got to do is win by 3 points. Oh, we're going to run to that. And if you do your research, a lot of times when that underdog is getting 2.5, the underdog win. Prime example, I understand we talked about this earlier. Florida State, LSU. LSU was a 2.5 point favorite. I was going to take Florida State money line anyway, straight up. I didn't want no points. I was just that confident. But that was a telling sign, like 2.5. Most people are going to take LSU, the higher ranked team, only giving 2.5. Oh, they can win by 3 points. So with that being said, that has nothing to do with why I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way. I just want to give you guys some betting information, and you guys can thank me later and just continue to subscribe, and we all win money together because I will have a parlay. And in my parlay, I got one with Pittsburgh by themselves, money line. That's it. Then I'm going to come right back, and I got my Thursday night parlay consisting with...
You fired up.
I'm fired up. Detroit, Kansas City. I'm taking Detroit with the points. I like Cleveland getting 2.5 from Cincinnati as well, similar to what I just stated with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the 2.5 logic. So I got it. Okay, I can't give you my parlay information, but I will before the weekend is, or hit me on social media. But my prediction for this particular game right here, Pittsburgh, San Francisco. You ready, Pat P?
I'm ready, dog. The mad scientist.
Pittsburgh, San Francisco. Pittsburgh win 2016. 2016. Pittsburgh win. 2016, Pat P.
I like it. Hey, Matt, to go back.
What you got?
The last season opener for the Pittsburgh Steelers was in 2014 against, let me tell you,
The last home opener?
It was against the Browns. Yeah. It will be the Pittsburgh Steelers' first home game opener since 2014 season when they hosted the Cleveland Browns.
And I tell you this much about Mike Tomlin in week 1 matchups against teams that are considered to be, highly respected and playoff caliber teams. Mike T take care of his business. Last year, Cincinnati coming off that Super Bowl run on the road, Pittsburgh won. I think the year before that they had Buffalo. What was the year they went to Buffalo? Buffalo was highly, looked at to be a championship type contender. Pittsburgh won. Mike Tomlin, I don't know what Mike Tomlin record. I don't know if Eric can kind of get that number for us.
So it's almost like college ball. You give him too much time to prep. Because Coach T, man, I don't think I've ever been around a head coach that loves ball as much as Coach T does.
Oh, he love it.
It's not a moment that we're not talking about ball. And it's not a moment in the building where we're not looking at a film or talking about this or talking about that pertains beating the team that's in front of us. And obviously we know he know his stuff. I can just remember being on the sideline in the Atlanta game when it was time for me to take my pass off. He was like, they're gonna come out before they broke the huddle, Mac. This ain't no bull job. Before they broke the huddle, he was like, they're gonna come out in 3-by-1, they're gonna run such and such.
And they ran it.
Damn, they came on the exact formation that he said, and they also ran the exact route combination that he said. So the time that he has to be able to prepare for, a week 1 team is just too much time on his hands because he got so much time on his hands to watch film, to really dissect what they want to do and how they want to do it in certain situations.
I love it. So we got the information from our great producer and our stat guy, Eric Debo. Mike Tomlin is 4-1 at home. He's 6-4-1 away, leading to an overall record in week 1 games of 10-5-1 in opening day games. That puts the Steelers at a 65.6 winning percentage in opening day games. And he's 4-1 at home in opening day games. I love it. I'm already in. But I'm already in. I'm heavy. It doesn't even matter. I committed. It doesn't matter. I'm gone. I don't even want it. I don't even want the points. I don't want the 2.5. I just told you it was going to happen. BMac prediction 2016. BMac prediction 2016.